So in this video, I'm going to prove that there were two major platforms online that were extremely biased and are now shifting to being not right, but fair to liberal, conservative, and all other points of view. See, the problem is liberals are used to having complete control over the information that you're allowed to interact with. And if you so much as hint that you're even right of center or any deviation from leftist viewpoints, your voice gets met with an axe, throttled, shadow banned, incorrectly fact-checked, and so on. So this video is going to be largely based on the video that's on RFK's channel. I strongly suggest you watch all 6 minutes of it because it's a game changer in terms of free speech if he can pull it off. Mr. Trump, you have the floor.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. First, within hours of my inauguration, I will sign an executive order banning any federal department or agency from colluding with any organization, business, or person to censor, limit, categorize, or impede the lawful speech of American citizens. And I will begin the process of identifying and firing every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship. Upon my inauguration as president, I will ask Congress to send a bill to my desk to get big online platforms out of censorship business. From now on, digital platforms should only qualify for immunity protection under Section 230 if they meet high standards of neutrality, transparency, fairness, and non-discrimination. We should require these platforms to increase their efforts to take down unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism, while dramatically curtailing their power to arbitrarily restrict lawful speech. Furthermore, to confront the problems of major platforms being infiltrated by legions of former deep staters and intelligence officials, there should be a 7-year cooling-off period before any employee of the FBI, CIA, NSA, DNI, DHS, or DOD is allowed to take a job at a company possessing vast quantities of U.S. user data. Furthermore, when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal. In addition, all users over the age of 18 should have the right to opt out of content moderation and curation entirely and receive an unmanipulated stream of information if they so choose. By restoring free speech, we'll begin to reclaim our democracy and save our nation. Thank you, and God bless America.
So there's a lot to unpack there, even in the parts I didn't show, but I want to point out a few key things here. The purpose of this announcement is to promote freedom of expression for all people, and though you might hear your left-leaning sellout media saying things like Trump wants to take all social media and make it all MAGA all the time, just an infinite stream of crazed conservative conspiracies and lies, but notice the language here. He says things like fairness, neutrality, equality for all Americans. Liberals, pay attention, focus, that means you too.
We could regulate social media because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
Explain to me exactly what you need to regulate about free speech. Back in the day, if someone was crazy, you called them crazy and you moved on. If you believed them, you were considered crazy too, but even the crazies were allowed to speak. So Mark Zuckerberg sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee dated August 26, 2024, spilling all the beans on the Biden administration pressuring him and Meta to censor COVID-related content, including humor and satire. A separate incident outlined in the letter lays out how the FBI sternly pressured Meta to heavily suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story while they wait for fact-checkers to get their lies straight. The reason given for suppressing the laptop story was that Russian disinformation may jeopardize the integrity of the 2020 election. How fitting is it that Biden just pardoned his son for the laptop? You can't make this stuff up. Zuckerberg says, I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it.
We don't take anything down. We don't block anything. Our point is that there is information that is leading to people not taking the vaccine, and people are dying as a result. And we have a responsibility as a public health matter to raise that issue.
Well, that aged like fine milk. Meanwhile, Facebook jail is still a thing. Trust me, I should know. Have you ever been in Facebook jail? It's not fun. How am I going to spend my lives? It's very hard. Fast forward to July 13, 2024, and Trump gets shot in the face. Zuckerberg made sure to clarify that he isn't endorsing any candidate, but in the same breath told how watching the aftermath of the assassination attempt welled up the American spirit within him.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But, and I think, look, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
It's like Zuckerberg is slowly evolving into this person we can get behind. Either that or just trying to save his own skin. Anyways, a couple of days ago, old Zuck comes out to address us once again.
Hey everyone. I want to talk about something important today, because it's time to get back to our roots around free expression on Facebook and Instagram. Governments and legacy media have pushed to censor more and more. A lot of this is clearly political, but there's also a lot of legitimately bad stuff out there. Drugs, terrorism, child exploitation. These are things that we take very seriously, and I want to make sure that we handle responsibly.
Notice his wording. Child exploitation, terrorism. Sound familiar?
Unlawful content such as child exploitation and promoting terrorism.
So we're going to get back to our roots and focus on reducing mistakes, simplifying our policies, and restoring free expression on our platforms. More specifically, here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to get rid of fact checkers and replace them with community notes similar to X, starting in the US. But the fact checkers have just been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created, especially in the US. Second, we're going to simplify our content policies and get rid of a bunch of restrictions on topics like immigration and gender that are just out of touch with mainstream discourse. What started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions and shut out people with different ideas, and it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platforms. We used to have filters that scanned for any policy violation. Now we're going to focus those filters on tackling illegal and high-severity violations. And for lower severity violations, we're going to rely on someone reporting an issue before we take action. We're going to move our trust and safety and content moderation teams out of California, and our US-based content review is going to be based in Texas. We're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. And that's why it's been so difficult over the past 4 years when even the US government has pushed for censorship. By going after us and other American companies, it has emboldened other governments to go even further. But now we have the opportunity to restore free expression, and I am excited to take it. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Stay good out there, and more to come soon.
I think Mark Zuckerberg, his view is that they went too far in policing information. And I think it's hard to, for a while, the most heavy-handed moderation I've ever seen, you could not write the words lab leak on Facebook. They would take down the post immediately for a period of time. And they admitted that was, now everyone admits that was wrong to do. And that shows the danger of having that kind of level of fear of debate on contentious subjects. So I don't want Mark Zuckerberg to become like Elon Musk, just make it all pro-Trump or something, but he's not saying he's turning over the fact-checking to conservatives. He's saying he's dismantling it.
So check this out. It's a Pew Research study that shows all of the social media platforms. X, formerly known as Twitter, perfectly hits the nail on the head, being the only platform that's almost exactly 50-50. Looks very all pro-Trump, doesn't it? And there you have it, folks, our two opposing viewpoints. On the one hand, Donald Trump aims to make speech great again by ripping out the heart of the censorship machine. Say that 5 times fast. and make our interactions with each other fair and unbiased, because Trump. While the lefties are losing it, anytime somebody dares open their mouth with even a hint of opposition, because liberal. If you like what I do, please leave a like. They really help. Consider subscribing, and I will see you next time. Is Zuckerberg somehow redeemable? Like, why do I feel like I like him now? He's even joining the ranks of people like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan who have uprooted themselves from California and moved to Texas.